banished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the Intergalactic Space Arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. Welcome to Classic Game Room, where I have the original WIPEOUT for the PlayStation from 1995 in the old school Sony packaging. My favorite part of this is that you get a free piece of foam with the game. It's like Sega's CD. WIPEOUT! What a phenomenal series of futuristic racing games. WIPEOUT! And this is where it all began. Whip 3 out, according to the packaging. WIPEOUT has achieved more than just cult status, it's achieved respect for being a great series of games, but unlike a lot of other series, the first game is not the best. WIPEOUT has only gone on to become better. Let's take a look at why. What did the designers do wrong the first time? Well, the game is damn near impossible. Track memorization is a must, and that can be said for all the WIPEOUT games, but in this one, if you touch the sides of the track, you pretty much stop. So not only do you have to drive well, you have to drive perfectly well. And that makes WIPEOUT less playable than any of the other WIPEOUT games. Not that it's bad, far from it. It's a great starting point. And I'll show this game and the developers nothing but serious respect for coming up with this masterpiece. It's beautiful. With incredible music that fits the style of the game, WIPEOUT runs smoothly. The art design has that Blade Runner-inspired, futuristic, badass, somewhat dystopian but not totally without hope style to it. And the racing itself is good, it's just that all of the other WIPEOUT games are better. If you hop into your time-traveling El Camino and go back to 1995, this was one of the earliest releases for the PlayStation. It may have even been a launch title, I'm not sure. It definitely shows what the PlayStation was capable of, especially for an early release. It's great. This blows away just about every mid-90s racing game that I can think of. And there's a lot of great racing games from the era. But WIPEOUT was ahead of its time. There's several different ships to choose from, numerous pilots, and there's a bunch of tracks in the game. But what really makes it is style and gameplay, because the music and the visuals just blend together perfectly to make WIPEOUT an extremely enjoyable experience. Even if it's incredibly frustrating, WIPEOUT has more of a 1980s arcade level of difficulty. You'll have to play this game over and over again to get out of the first series of events. On each track, you'll notice some turbo boost pads in blue and some weapon and shield power-ups that you'll collect to attack other racers in the game. Racing in the future is awesome. It runs smooth, it plays well, it shows what the PlayStation is capable of, but I wouldn't recommend the first WIPEOUT, because there's better WIPEOUT games to choose from, like WIPEOUT HD, WIPEOUT Pulse, and WIPEOUT 2048. Unless you're really curious about where the series came from or want to challenge yourself, because I assure you this is the hardest one. On that note, I have a huge Classic Game Room shout out and thank you to send to Vance in Waterloo, Iowa. Once again, Vance also sent the Bentley CompuVision to Classic Game Room and WIPEOUT, because Vance is awesome. Rocket indeed. WIPEOUT 1. A great beginning to an excellent series of games. If you are interested in finding a copy of the game, you can find used copies easily on the internet or just download it from the PlayStation Network for a couple bucks. Personally, my favorites are the WIPEOUT games on PlayStation 3, but This one will test even the most experienced futuristic death-driving racing star. Because if you can't complete one of the races in the top 3, you don't continue. You just wipe out.